So you're all ready for your college tour, virtual or in person. You've got everything scheduled. You're all set. You're excited. Your parents are excited. And why wouldn't they be? You're about to leave home. But before you actually go, let's just make sure you know the two most important questions you need to ask on your college tour. Because no, it's not about financial aid. It's not even, does this school have my major? No, the two questions I'm talking about are so important, they make everything else secondary. And that's because they fundamentally determine the quality of education the school you're looking at can provide. But here's the thing. Nobody on your college tour is going to ask these questions. And even if they did, most tour guides don't know the answers. So we're going to take a deep dive on these questions. We're going to get past the smoke and mirrors of the college admission process and look behind the closed doors of the ivory tower, here at the College Insider. Okay, so the first question is very easy. What is the teaching load of your full-time faculty? You see, college professors are not like high school teachers. They don't come in for 5-6 hours a day, teach 4 or 5 courses. They've got a lot of other responsibilities. Chief among them is publishing. They also have to serve on committees. And these committees help the school operate, and they also look for ways to improve. So the actual teaching workload of faculty is a very significant factor in determining how much energy and how much time they can devote to you as an individual student and your development. So teaching load refers to the amount of courses per term a professor teaches. Now, most schools in the United States have 2 major terms per year. So teaching load is usually expressed as a numerical equation, number plus a number. And there's a wide range of teaching loads throughout higher education. So we're going to take a look at that range. We're going to take a look at each teaching load through that spectrum and talk about what it really means. All right, so at the highest end of the spectrum, you see 4 and 4. 4 and 4 means that a professor is teaching 4 courses every semester. Now, what does that really mean? It means the institution is depending on overworking their faculty to remain viable. It means that the financial stability of the school that you're looking at is so precarious that they have to overwork their faculty just to stay afloat. The school administrators are not managing the finances well enough. They're either not raising enough money or they're not cutting non-essential costs, like administrative salaries, enough for the school to stay afloat effectively. Now, early in my career, I taught a 4 and 4 teaching load. I was young, I was inspired, I was energetic, I was exhausted. If you ever need an example of what physics means with quantum theory and the quantum leap, teach a 4 and 4 teaching schedule. Because those first 3 courses, everything you do works great, and then it's time for that 4th course, and you hit the wall. You've got nothing left in the tank. You spent it all on the other 3 courses. As well you should. So a 4 and 4 teaching load means that somewhere along the line, your professor is going to find ways to cut back in order to save their energy. And there's 2 main ways that professors cut back. Either through assessment, meaning the way in which they evaluate your work is going to be more simple, less involved, like lots of true and false multiple choice tests. Or if they give writing assignments, They won't really give the kind of detailed commentary that will help your writing improve. The other way that professors cut back is through the courses themselves. Now, either they don't put as much energy into every course, or they make the really difficult decision that they're just going to cut back a lot on one of their courses so they have the energy for the other three. Now, however they decide that, don't blame the faculty. Blame the administrators for putting faculty in that position to begin with. It's not reasonable to teach a 4 and 4 teaching load. And yet, schools will come up with excuses as to why their faculty teach so much. So the first excuse they usually use is, we want our faculty to focus in on teaching. Yep, you heard right. That was the bullshit alarm. If schools really wanted their faculty to focus in on their teaching, they would give them a reasonable teaching load so they could do just that. They would give them a teaching load where they could devote all their energy to each class they teach, which is not the case with a 4 and 4 teaching load. The other excuse that schools will make for the 4 and 4 teaching load is, well, they teach 4 courses, but every term we ensure that they've got 2 sections of one course, so they save time on prep. Yeah, that one's kind of BS too, because the energy that faculty put into teaching is not devoted to a whole lot of prep. Usually what happens is a professor develops a course, and when it's from scratch, they usually do that in the summer, they create a syllabus, they create a schedule of readings and assignments, and then they put it into place. It's not like your professor rehearses their lecture for 2 hours every time before they go into a classroom. So after they developed a course, they make changes here and there based on what they thought worked and didn't work, but that's very little time. The time and energy of teaching is spent in the classroom and just as much in assessment, grading your work, evaluating your work through the development of the course. That's where a professor's energy goes, not towards prep. So the bottom line of a 4 and 4 teaching load is this is a school that overworks their faculty.
So in the end, there's really only one thing you can do when you find that the school you're looking at has a 4 and 4 teaching load.
So the next equation that you see on the spectrum here is 4 and 3. Now, this is a hybrid, and it's a kind of strange hybrid when you get right down to it, because a 4 and 3 teaching load is really saying that, yes, 4 courses a term is too much for professors to teach. 4 courses a term really overloads the faculty. So one of those terms, we're going to give the faculty a course break. Yeah, that's great. But what about the term where they're teaching 4 courses? It means they're overworked. So this is a really kind of strange admission that we're overworking our faculty, but half the time we're going to keep overworking them. Yeah, I would take a pass on that too.
So you're probably thinking at this point, okay, professor, we get it. The further down the spectrum we go, the better it gets. Well, if you're thinking that, you'd be wrong. Whoops! There, that's better. As philosophy teaches us, social dynamics are always more complex than that. So the fact of the matter is, as you go down the spectrum to 3 and 3 and on towards a 2 and 2 teaching load, there are certain trade-offs that occur, and you need to know which of those trade-offs are going to work for you and your specific goals. That's what we're going to take a close look at in our next segment.